Hi guys, it's Vicrez here today to install the carbon fiber OEM engine cover for the Chevy Corvette C8 models 2020 to 2021. You can find this on vicrez.com, part number vz102108. So let's get started.
So starting off, we have 2 bolts on this side, a clip we have to remove on this side, and then we also have these 2 bolts on the right side. We're going to start from the left side from back to front. Always remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so I'm going to go counterclockwise to loosen the bolts. Doesn't take much force, don't try to push it too hard. There's the second one. And then the flathead that I mentioned earlier, we're going to be using that for the clip that is in the front of the engine cover right here, this clip right here. So with this clip right here, we're going to take our flathead. We're going to press down with a finger, thumb, index, whatever's comfortable for you. You're going to push that down, and on the back of the clip towards the engine cover, you're going to put that screwdriver through here, and it should just, there you go, lift off. Since we started loosening these bolts already, what we're going to do is we're going to take this off of the clip and push it under the clip, just to get it out of the way so the engine cover can pull up. So I'm going to keep loosening these bolts, get them out all the way. At this point, I have them pretty loose so I can get them by hand or just take the socket off the ratchet. An overview is I took these 2 bolts out and loosened this clip right here. So now we're going to move on to the other side and take those 2 bolts off as well. Alright, so the right side is going to be identical to the left side. You're just going to make sure your ratchet is in the loosening position. So going counterclockwise. We're going to go counterclockwise and counterclockwise. Just to loosen them up, remember with these bolts, they're not held on super tight, so you don't need a lot of force to loosen them. 1 bolt's off, now we got the other one closest to us. So we got all 4 bolts off, we got that clip loose, and now it's time to start pulling the engine cover off. So this bracket is going to be held in by one of the bolts. You're going to take this bracket and just make sure there's no more contact with the engine cover. Along with the right side and the left side, there's also a bracket. There's this metal bracket piece right here. You're also going to make sure that's not contacting the engine cover so it has space to move. Now that we took all 4 bolts off that clip, we got those little metal brackets out of the way. Now time to pull the engine cover up. Just like that. It should come out. If you see from both engine covers, the way that it was put on, we're going to put it on the same exact way. It was in the engine bay like this. This one is also going to be like this. Advised, we do not include a front clip, so we're going to take that off the old engine cover and put it on the new engine cover. There's a hole to do so right here. So do that real fast for you guys. And don't pull the clips straight up, because if you see right here, the plastic has these grooves in them. You don't want to ruin that because it's not held on by any threads. The grooves is what makes this clip sit flush on the engine cover. So you're just going to be moving it back and forth, rocking it. You don't want to just lift straight up. That'll like really mess up the clip. You don't need incredible force. So again, don't try to yank it too hard because you will mess up the grooves inside of this clip. There it goes. So you're just going to make sure that these parts are still intact on it. So now we have nothing that we need for this engine cover anymore. You do not need this piece. You can keep it on the stock one still. We're not going to be using it for this install on the bottom here. You can just keep it how it is. So what we're going to do is, same way we took it out, we're going to put it in. So it's going to be a little bit snug because you don't want your clip falling out while you're driving, that kind of stuff. So we're going to try to use the same method, try to jiggle it back and forth to get it in there. I think what helps is if you just hold it and then go from there. So you're just going to push it through, boom. So perfect. Clip's in there. It's not going to come out nice and snug. After you finish putting this front clip on the engine cover, you're ready to just put it in. All right, so one big advantage you get in running the Vicrez engine cover on your C8, other than it looking super sweet, is the weight difference as well. So we're going to weigh these 2 for you guys just to show you. First, we're going to use the OEM one. It's a little heavy, huh? So we're going to put it on our scale here. Boom, 2.20. 2.20 for the stock one. Now, I'm gonna be taking this one off and we're gonna be putting the vicrez carbon fiber one on our scale. Perfect, so we're gonna put this on the scale, like so. 1.40. So it's a pretty big difference, right? So we have this carbon fiber vicrez one, which is 1.40, and we got the stock one that's 2.20. So the weight difference is pretty big, it looks amazing, and we're gonna put it on the car now. So we're gonna be putting the engine cover on the car. Make sure all your bolts are in place. Make sure you got your tools, remember your socket. You won't be needing the flathead anymore unless you couldn't get this open, then you're gonna need the flathead to open the clip, but since I already have it open, we're just gonna put it on and bolt it down. So when you're first trying to put it on, you'll see that this hose gets in the way. Just make sure that this engine cover doesn't sit on top of the hose or it's flush. Looks like this hole's lining up. So I'm gonna start from back to front. I'll start with this bolt right here. Now you're gonna get your ratchet and your socket. Remember, you're gonna go clockwise, right? So it's gonna be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So to tighten it, you're gonna go towards the front of the car. When the bolt hits the mating surface of the engine cover, the carbon fiber, you don't wanna tighten it too much, just like on the old engine cover, how when I cracked it loose, it took basically no force. That's how tight you want these bolts. So we're gonna snug them up. Perfect. Now we're gonna move on to the second one. When you do this one, make sure the bracket is on top of the engine cover. So when you bolt it down, it bolts on with this bracket as well, because these are holding all these lines right here. So I'm gonna start off with my hand, make sure that it bolts in with the bracket. You're gonna line everything up. Make sure it catches thread before you even start putting the socket on it. So once you find it start catching thread, just take your ratchet and your socket, and remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so we're gonna go towards the front of the car. So same thing with this bolt, you're gonna make sure it's flush, not too tight. So I'm gonna stop right there. Should be tight. All right, so we got these two bolts now, and since we're already right here, we're gonna move on to the other side. I'm gonna put this line back in where the clip is. So all you're gonna do is, it should be under, that's usually where it is. You're going to pull it up. There's a little spot for it to go. You're going to just pop it back into place, just like so. And then you're going to clip it in. You'll hear it clip, just like that. And then we're gonna move on to the other side and tighten the other two bolts. Now, I'm gonna be doing the exact same I did on that side. I'm gonna go back to front. So we're gonna start with the back bolt, all the way in the back. Now that it's starting to catch thread, I can take my ratchet socket. Remember, right is tight, left is loose. So I'm just going to start tightening it down. Just like the other two bolts, you're gonna make sure it's not too tight. Now, we have one more bolt, which is where the bracket holds in, just like the other side. Make sure that this bracket is over the hole, because this bolt's gonna go over this bracket and into the hole, into the threads underneath the engine cover. So I started to catch thread with my hands. So once you can't really turn anymore, you're gonna take your ratchet and socket. Remember, you gotta go right. Start tightening it down. What you should do after you do anything on a car, you're gonna go around, bolt check, make sure you have all the bolts in, make sure everything's tight. So I'm gonna check, make sure that it's nice and snug, not going anywhere, right? Not loose. Perfect. All right, awesome. So we just installed an engine cover on the C8 Corvette. Now remember, we have a ton of extra parts for this car and other cars at vicrez.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube for more of these product installs and follow us on social media for further updates.